Canada, eh?
Hey everyone, it's the Canadian Card Collector here. Today I'm going to go through 5 platforms for buying and selling your sports cards. I'm going to give you an overview of these platforms and just talk about the pros and cons of each. This is relevant for anybody, but especially if you're Canadian, as there are different fees involved for all of us Canadians. But if you're not from Canada, these will be relevant as well. So the first one is eBay. I think this is known by the most amount of people. It is by far the biggest platform and market for sports cards. I don't have the exact data or figures, but it controls a majority of the market still. The liquidity is very high, so there's lots of eyeballs on the cards. A couple of downsides: the high fees. It's about 13% at least for every card you sell, and shipping could be a huge hassle. Any lot, any card you sell, you have to ship out yourself, and you could be shipping all over the world depending on where you want to ship to. Canadians, it's also a disadvantage because of the higher cost to ship out to the United States, and of course buying, you are subject to fees as well. And when it comes to competing with the American market, well, there is no competition because selling within the United States and shipping within the United States, you are not subject to any other fees, whereas American buyers may not buy from you since they might have to pay customs fees or taxes, as well as higher shipping costs. The next platform is COMC or COMC. This is more for sellers that are looking to sell their individual cards. They don't do lots, but they are great for selling your lower end cards. They do everything for you, so you can ship out your entire shipment and they will list everything for you. They scan every single card. Great thing is they also cross-list with eBay, so all your cards are visible to eBay buyers as well. You don't need to deal with shipping on an individual card level, which is amazing, because then you just have to ship out once and then everything is done for you, other than actually providing list price. But COMC, scans and provides titles and everything. They do have a Canadian warehouse that you can ship to, which is nice because you don't have to pay American premiums. And then they also are just good overall for lower value cards, especially when it comes to eBay. You may not want to ship out dollar cards, 50-cent cards, etc., $2 cards, $5 cards. This is perfect for that because you can send everything to their vault and then people can buy from the website. A few cons: fees have gotten very high over the years. They used to be about 35 cents a card, but now it starts at 65 cents a card. And that means basically anything under $1 is not worth shipping to, is not worth selling there. There are other fees as well, and I plan on doing a video on COMC, just all the fees you can expect. Another con is that people without accounts pay higher price on eBay. So if they don't have an account with COMC and they just want to check out through eBay, they can, but they will pay a higher price than what's listed. And then there's also fewer eyes on higher end cards. It's not the right platform for it. They do auctions, which is great, but they don't specialize in higher end auctions for sure. The next platform is Fanatics, and this platform is much more conducive to the high end and graded options. You can sell raw cards there, but a lot of people are looking for graded cards. Fees are lower, especially if you sell within their estimated value. They assign an estimated value to every card. This is in conjunction with Card Ladder. So say if you're selling a card that's estimated to be $100, if you sell it at $100, then you will only pay a 6% fee. It will be 12% if you go about 20% or over the estimated value. This is all done through their vault, so there's no need to ship unless you have your own cards, but you could buy there directly and sell there directly. This is the same as COMC. There's all sorts of cards to buy there. The other thing is you only have to ship once if you have a whole collection you want to ship out. They're not as big as eBay, so that's a con, and especially for Canadian buyers and shipping, you will have to pay American shipping costs to get your cards there, and there's also a higher fee on withdrawals and limited options for Canadian banks, so you are subject to significant costs when it comes to bank transfer fees. The PSA Vault is a great option that I have recently gotten into. There's no fees on your offers that you can get through there. So a card that you are selling directly through the vault, you can get an offer through there, and there's no fees. They are already baked in. Easy withdrawals to your bank accounts through Stripe, and you can send your cards to eBay auctions. This is another vault, so you are going to be sending your cards if you want to send them there, or you can also buy through PSA on eBay and then send those cards to your vault for free. Again, another huge advantage for Canadians where you don't have to necessarily ship cards out there. Similar to Fanatics, you need to pay American shipping costs to get your cards there if you have yours in your personal collection, but it depends on how you buy them and how you want to sell them in the future. Lastly, I think this is not exactly a card market, but this is really underrated for a lot of reasons. I think a lot of people forget about Facebook when their marketplace does have a lot of eyes. I personally buy and sell a lot there. There's no fees for ads, and for sales, you have full control of your sales, and you have lots of groups dedicated for buying and selling for different kind of niches. For example, there might be vintage only, vintage hockey only, vintage football only, vintage baseball only, certain players that people collect, certain teams. There's tons of groups out there for all of these, and you basically have full control of the entire process. Cons, of course, are there's limited views. They're mostly local, but if you get into these groups, you'll get people from all over. The other thing is you have no control on who you interact with. There's no vetting process. There are ways to report people if they do bad things, for example. But for example, if you're meeting in person, you don't know who you're going to meet and you don't quite know what you're getting into. So you have to stay safe. And those are just a couple things to keep in mind when you're dealing with more local buyers. But those are the 5 platforms I want to talk about. As a Canadian, you have to be mindful of a lot of these fees and charges that you are subject to. Think about the cards that you have and what's best for you. If you just want to flip, I highly recommend one of these vaults like PSA, Fanatics, COMC. These are all great ways of just flipping your cards or buying them for long term, holding them there, and if you ever want them shipped to you, you can. You're of course subject to the fees involved with any American shipping. Let me know down in the comments what kind of platforms you use. I know this is not an exhaustive list, there's plenty more, but these are kind of some of the biggest ones I wanted to mention. I hope you all liked this video. Please let me know if you have any video suggestions. See you all again soon.